Good morning, Alexa developers. I am your host, Greg Bulmash, and this is Alexa Developers Office Hours for March 30th, 2021. If you're out there, give us a shout out in chat. I have also put up this link right here in chat, which is the link to our Alexa community Slack. This is a great community where you can meet other Alexa developers, ask questions, give answers, talk dev, just basically hang out, have fun. Really a lot of helpful people there, and our solutions architects, our developer advocates, our product managers tend to drop in every once in a while as well to answer questions. So it's a great community. And so we have Hypnot TZ. Would that be correct? Welcome, Hypnot TZ, and welcome to anybody else who's out there. If you have questions, post them to the chat. One downside is that I'm getting a full view of the incoming chats from both YouTube and Twitch, although the people on Twitch and the people on YouTube are only going to see their own chat stream. So I will highlight any good answers and good questions to make sure they come up on screen, just like this lovely. I'm like doing everything in reverse here. Alexa.design/Slack that's on the screen there, so that you can see what the answers are, what's being asked. So we'll get that. HypnoTTZ or Hypnot TZ is asking for me to gift them an Alexa to Chile. I'm afraid I can't do that. I'm not the one who gifts Alexa devices, unfortunately. But let me take our Slack off the screen. We'll put it back in a little later. And so let's just say hello to the other people who are joining us. We've got Ricardo, we've got Trade Last, we've got Steve Nelson. Hey, we've got Milton Huang, we've got Magdiel Torrespa. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And Trade Last has a question to start talking about. So Trade Last is asking this on Twitch, and I'll put this up. It's a pretty long one. So I'll ask this in more detail in Slack, but wanted a conceptual reality check here. Can I make 4 async API calls in parallel from my Lambda in Node.js rather than awaiting each to complete in sequence before calling the next one? So the thing is that you need to make sure all of them complete, right? So what you may want to do is wrap them all in a promise that only resolves when they're all complete. So you can have them, you can basically sort of have each one of them trigger a function that counts. Is this been done? Is this been done? Is this been done? And then once they're all done, you can then have an async await for that promise. So you just have it in a separate part. There's actually, if you've ever been to Node School, I think it's nodeschool.io. Let's check here. Yes, nodeschool.io. In their Learn You Some Node tutorial, I'm going to put this up. So for nodeschool.io, they have a tutorial called Learn You Some Node, or Learn Me Some Node. And this was my introduction to Node a long time ago. And one of the things that they cover is having all these multiple asynchronous calls and making sure you wait until they're all fulfilled. And how do you track that? So they have an exercise in there. So, it's as a conceptual reality check, totally fine. You just want to make sure that you because you are going to have to wait until those calls are done, either have some mechanism in your handler that tracks them before it returns a response, or you can wrap them all in a promise and use async await on that promise. So, all righty. I will take that down, but I love Node School IO. It's a great little tool. It's got a lot of different tutorials, and it's all self-paced. W. Giorgio, hello, welcome. So, we have another question here from Justin Kim coming in from YouTube. Thank you, Justin. For slots with multi-values, how would I be able to split two values in the Python backend and make two local variables? All right, so Jeff was our multi-value slot guy. I am still ramping up on that. Can you clarify whether, okay, so I think the best thing we can do here is go to our documentation on multi-value slots. So I can see what's being returned. So let's pull up that documentation. Oh, good. I already have it zoomed in. Let's go over to my second screen with the documentation here. So multiple value slot to collect multiple values from user utterance into a single slot. Okay, send you with 3. Okay, so multiple value slots, value hiking, value camping, resolutions, fishing. Okay, so as you can see here, you're getting an array of values. So are you looking for something to help you break up the array into local variables? Or is this more complex? So I'm sorry. I'm going silent because I'm reading. So yeah, so you want to break up the values into local variables. Well, you would just extract the values from your okay. So here's my okay. So here's my question for you, Justin. When you're saying hiking would be a local variable and fishing would be a second local variable, are you saying that there would be a variable named hiking that would be true? Or are you looking for, activity 1 equals fishing, activity 2 equals hiking? So that's my question here. I'll put your recent answer in there so I can show it to everybody else. Because that's the question. Are you trying to run a routine that's going to set various things to true, or are you trying to run a routine that's going to just assign the variable, the array values to some local variables? Okay, so that kind of thing is basically going to be you're just going to break up your array. And how you would do that in Python, I'm not going to write out code here just because I'm not that proficient in Python, and it would be really slow. But if somebody else has some sample code that they want to post into here, or they want to share on the thing. Oh, are you Mugdiel, are you looking for this particular link? I will post this to the chat for multi-value slots. Yeah. So, my thing, Steve, is my initial thought is that you are uh, yeah, that's the basic thing. I was trying to think of something. I'll put Stephen Nelson's return here. Um, obviously, this is the simplest way of handling it. I don't know if Justin's trying to do it a little more, like activity 2 only exists if there's an activity 2. That's what I wouldn't know how to do in Python necessarily. I could come up with something similar in JavaScript though. But let's see here. So we'll let this go. Once again, let me just scroll all the way up to the top here. Here's alexa.design/Slack. This is how you get to our Alexa community Slack. You can ask questions there. They can be answered asynchronously. You can have discussions there. It's really useful. If you haven't joined, join. This will get you your invitation to join by following this link. So head on over and make sure that you're doing that, because we will follow up here with office hours after hours over on the Slack for about 15-20 minutes and answer more questions. But as you can see, we have great, helpful users. I love our community because they do jump in and help each other so much. So that is if you're not wanting to wait a week for the next office hours, jump on over to the Slack. It's really worth your time. So let's see here. Now I got to scroll back down because there was a question here I wanted to address, and this is from Milton Huang. It's a bit long. Wondering how often skills use personalization. Can I give us any numbers on how many users set up voice profiles? And can't give out those numbers, but I think you can actually set up a voice profile without let's see. Let's look this up. Yeah. So you do have to do it in the app, but one of the reasons you have to do it in the app is because otherwise anybody in your household could set up a voice profile as you if it wasn't done previously. Because they would just say, "Hey, Alexa, I'm Greg, and I'm trying to make sure that all of my devices that answer to Alexa are currently muted." They can say, "Hey, Alexa, I'm Greg." So, the app is sort of an additional authentication factor, making sure that the owner of the device is setting up that voice profile. So, yes, they do have to do it. I can't give you numbers on how many people have it. As far as I know, we don't disclose that. And I honestly don't have numbers myself. So let's come down. Okay, so let me see here. Will we be getting a version of the developer console with smart motion or entity sensing built in? That's another one I can't answer. Amazon doesn't like us to promise anything that has not already been delivered. So let's go up here. I think there was a good one from W. Giorgio. And I think this is one that, and this is one that I think we need to sort of dig into here, which is when separating intents for each slot only sample utterance, How should we go about doing this in our handlers, such as view rarity intent handler only, rarity and view rarity intent handler view rarity, look at rarity? Okay. I'm trying to understand what your use case is here, W. Giorgio, because I think I might have it. I might understand it, but I'm trying to gather your use case here. Um, Hello, all data driven skills. So, W. Giorgio, you got this from the Alexa team. LOL. Which member? So, what we will do here. Okay, I'm just reading a couple of the recent questions while we wait to see if W. Giorgio has an answer for us. Um, so we'll come back to you, W. Giorgio, when we have when you've got something more on that, because I can't answer that as phrased because I'm not understanding it fully. Let's see here. Okay, so Dark Side is saying I ran into an issue developing a skill where I need to require a slot, but it could have been one of two slots. In dialogues, I cannot find a way to accomplish this. Is there a way to accomplish this? Actually, the one thing we do is we talk about auto delegation in our beginner tutorial, and essentially I'm guessing you're saying it could be either slot 1 or slot 2, not just it has to be slot 1 and maybe slot 2. So with that, let me look this up here. Is, I'll get the dialogue to yes. Because there's a dialogue. Yeah, so there's a dialogue delegation uh, deal. Let's see there. That's not one of ours. Let me see if I can find. Um, so this is from 2019. Use intent chaining to enter dialogue management from a different intent. I'm forgetting the exact term because we sort of don't recommend it as much because it's harder, but there is a dialogue delegation where you can just sort of say, okay, I'm asking for both of these. As long as I get one of them that's good, I'm good. So we got that right. Okay. So, um, let's see, dialogue. See if this goes into it. Dialogue interface reference. Yeah, dialogue management. And that's manual delegation. So essentially, with manual delegation, Alexa sends your skill and intent request for each turn of the conversation. So you can just say, okay, I've got the information I need each time. So I'm going to put this in. So dialogue management was the term. And with dialogue management, rather than having Alexa auto delegate and gather all the slots and then send it to you, Alexa gathers a slot and then sends you the result and says, "What do you want me to do next?" Um, and that continues until you tell Alexa, "Good, I've got what I need. Let's move forward." So here's your, I put that into chat. I'll post this right here. That's really what you're going to use for when you need one or the other, but you don't necessarily need both. All right, let's go up and look at some prior questions. And we have, let's see here. So Tolkar is commenting on W. Giorgio's question. I got that recommendation from the Alexa team too. Basically, if you have a slot-only utterance, it's better to split it into two intents for better recognition, but they had no issue in implementing it into their system. And let's see if W. Giorgio is added in. Okay, so to improve my skill, I was told to separate my intents, to separate the intent slots to have just a single utterance rarity. I want to combine both intents, view rarity intent handler only and view rarity intent handler, into one handler. Well, so here's the deal, W. Giorgio. If your slot name is rarity in both, then you're going to get the slot name from the intent regardless. And really, it's just you set up your, get rarity intent handler. Instead of view rarity intent handler only and view rarity intent handler, you just do like view rarity intent handler. And in the can handle, you say, I can handle both of these intents. If it's this intent or this intent. This is something I do a lot when I'm writing skills, especially when it's like you can say yes to invoke this skill. You might be asked a question where the answer is yes, or you might be asked to a question where you will say cheese. And so this this handler will handle either the yes to a specific question, or will handle the intent that's caused by saying, that's invoked by saying cheese. So I hope that gives you the answer you're looking for. Yeah, that's a wonderful thing. I think we actually let's do a quick. That's not what I'm looking for. GitHub. Voice interactivity demo. So this is actually a demo that we did last week in our tech talk. And if you go into the Lambda and you go into the index.js, you'll see that there are some places here where next back intent handler, right? So I have got them doing the intent request, which is the next back intent, but I'm also handling it's also got an or function. Let me just bring this up a little bit, make it a little bigger so everybody can see. So we've got the intent handler, and it's also handling if we get a user event from the APL document with an argument of cheese next or cheese back. So this is handling three possible inputs, right? And then what we have to do here is we have to make sure which input we're handling. But if for both of them are an intent, for this, intent slots direction value. So you'd be intent slots rarity value, regardless of the actual name of your intent. The name of the intent would be important up here, but not down here. So that may be more than you needed, W. Giorgio. You're pretty experienced, but I wanted to make sure that some of our newer developers got a chance to see that and understand that way of handling things. So I'll pop that back here, and we'll just bring that page up again just for fun. Aha. Okay. That might be it. That might be it. If you've got this, yeah, if you got both slots are called rarity, both slots are called the slot value that's coming in is called rarity. So okay. Let me unhighlight this one. And does anybody need me to put that GitHub URL in if you're interested? That's a fun one, and it links to the video from our tech talk at the top of the README, so you can watch the tech talk where I actually walk through the code with you. It was interesting. We were trying a shorter tech talk, and we have and we got some feedback from you, and the overall feedback was, we budgeted a half an hour to watch this. We want a half an hour of content. So our experimentation with the shorter tech talk, which we thought might be more pleasurable for you, more useful to you, we're going to go back to the full half hour. So thumbs up. Let me scroll back here. And there's one here. I'm going to come back to this. I saw it. Okay. So this is from Toll Car, and this is, how long can we count on deprecated display interface? And I actually want to write that down. I want to record that because I want to share that with the folks who are involved in that. See if we can get you an answer, because I don't have that offhand, but that's definitely something we should be able to tell you. So I'm going to see if I can get that. All right. So I am going to share that with my folks. Thank you for putting up with me while I slowly type. I'm a 4-fingered, 6-fingered typist. I won't show you why, because it grosses people out, but just one of my fingers has a really loose tendon. So if I try and stretch it away from the home row, the knuckle just sort of pops in the other way. Doesn't hurt, but hurts getting it back. So I just type with these. And then if my mic is in the way of my keyboard, sometimes I have to look at it, and slows me up. I'll put my mic out here a little bit so I can see my keyboard better. Can y'all hear me still? All right. So, and here's Steve Nelson. If you're in the YouTube chat, you're seeing Steve Nelson answering Justin Kim's question. So that's awesome. And so that's useful. All right. And here's the point in the show. We're at the halfway mark. I get to take a sip of water. Lovely. All right. So Kshitij Ijari on YouTube is asking, can you help me connecting Alexa and resolve room? Is this like you're trying to connect Alexa into your own smart home and resolve room there? What's the context here? And I will let you follow up with that. Meanwhile, I will address Milton Wong. Thank you for that feedback. Yes, it may be more useful. We're considering just doing some more bite-sized videos that we don't sort of promote as tech talks, but just having some more short video that's helpful and easily discoverable. Okay, so what do we got? Okie dokie. Okay, so maybe a member can help you in chat with that. This is actually for Alexa developers, not for consumer use of Alexa devices. This, we're not tech support for consumers. Not that our viewers might not help you in chat, but I really need to focus on developer questions today. So I am going to head back up the list to see if we have any other good questions that we want to address. All right. So Justin Kim had a question that Stephen Nelson already addressed. I'm just going to go through these and share that because I really want to highlight I think it was Stephen Nelson, or was it Tradeless? Yes, Steve Nelson helped. So I want to go through these because when our community is helping each other, I want to point it out. I want to show you how helpful our community is here in chat. And I also want to remind you, alexa.design/Slack. That is our Alexa community Slack where you can go, you can join in conversations, you can help each other, get help. It's really awesome. But we've got Justin Kim's here. I need to have both slot name, and slot name is sample user utterances. How about I have a 3-digit number? No, I think that's actually an earlier question. Yeah, here. So this was in the Alexa skill I'm currently developing. I asked someone's height as a slot value. Example, 4 feet 11 inches. I would like to create 2 local variables where feet equals 4 and inches equals 11. And then Steve Nelson is answering it very helpfully. Just Kim, if I have a height intent with samples, I am feet, and inches tall. I am feet tall where feet and inches are both Amazon number. Then it's going to resolve to slots feet value 5 and slots feet inches to 8 when I say I'm 5 feet and 8 inches tall. And that's really where you're going to get that. You're just going to have multiple slots. You're going to name them. You're going to give good sample utterances when you're creating your intent. That's really important. And if you want to, one of the things that I recommend a lot is using the NLU evaluation. Let me see if I can pull this up. We'll just go here. And let's go Alexa console as, so let's see which, I believe, yeah, this chart demo. I'm not even working on chart demo lately. So we'll go to action demo. And so here, this is where I have the demo type and next back. And so next back is really fairly simple. But what I can do is I can click this evaluate model and I have the utterance profiler. And this is for quick and dirty profiling. I just say next. It's going to come up and it's going to say, okay, it's going to call the next back intent, and the slot named direction is going to have the value next. If you go deeper, you have your NLU evaluation, which is really great because what you can do is you can create. We'll just make this because we're not even going to save it. So we're going to create an utterance. And we put that in. I want to go next. Then you can actually say, my expected intent is next back intent. My expected slots are direction, and the value is next. And that's about it. And then what you can do is you save and run this set, right? You save your annotation set and you run that NLU evaluation. And it's really interesting because what you get is you get almost a test driven development model where you can write, if you've really done your role playing and got your sample utterances collections right, you can then set up all your sample utterances in here, set your expected intent, set your expected slots, do all that before you even start creating your interaction model, right? And then you run this and you run it and you get your fails and you keep working on your interaction model and your slot types until this annotation set passes. And so in that way, you're doing something very much like a wonderful uh, test-driven development. Sorry, brain tripped for a moment. All right, so let's see what we got here. TradeLast is asking, would I fight one 100-foot user or one 10-foot user? Fight 101-foot users, or I'm guessing one 100-foot user. TradeLast, I'll put this on. I'm guessing you mean a 100-foot user, but what I'm going to say to you, I'm going to say to you from the heart. I don't fight users. I help users. Thanks for the opportunity to say that. And Mike the Old Torresma. Okay, I'm glad that I helped you out with this. Yes, the evaluate model is really good. It gives you the NLU evaluation. It gives you the utterance profiler and ASR evaluation, where you can actually create a batch of audio files and have them check to make sure that those audio files are resolving to the ASR is automatic speech recognition, is basically the speech to text. So you can tape people with different accents, with different speaking styles. I say tape. Nobody uses tape anymore. Tape is an anachronism. You can record people with different speaking styles, different accents, and make sure that when they're saying your intent, that they're saying your expected utterances, that those utterances are just being heard correctly and being translated to the right text, because then you can use whatever text comes from that to see if that text is passing NLU evaluation. So you have some really great testing tools to help you test before you've even created your back-end code. This all helps you test your front-end code, which is your interaction model and your slot types. Does it work in Spanish too? I believe it does. I am in English here. But I believe that the ASR evaluation works in every language that we support. And we can do and check the documentation. So this is the documentation here. We also have ASR APIs, related topics. let's look at this on how to run an ASR. Okay. Let's go to the create an annotation set. So this is the interesting thing. I'm not seeing on here that it's English only, but we're not also saying that we support other languages than English. I am going to remember how I made that note about how much longer can we rely on the deprecated display interface? I am going to make another note about this. What language? So what I will do is I will pass that on and I will get you an answer and I will put it in our community Slack, which is, let me type this. Alexa.design/Slack. I will put this right in there and then I'm going to highlight it here. Alexa.design/Slack. There's a lot of great information here. I will definitely check in with our folks as to whether it is English only or whether it is all the languages we support, because I would assume that it's all the languages we support, but you never know. So let's find out for sure, and I will put that answer in the Alexa.design/Slack community Slack. If you want, you can go over there, ask it again, and you might get an answer faster than I can get the answer for you. But if you ask it there, I can answer it in the thread. So the next time you come back to the Slack, you'll see that you have unread messages in your threads, and you'll see that you can answer that. That there's someone who has responded to your question in thread. Makes it a lot easier. So once again, I cannot stress how awesome, we started this Slack a couple months ago, and we've gotten just an awesome response from y'all who have joined up, who are participating, who are making it a really wonderful, vibrant place to ask and answer questions. And another thing that you can do is, if you're if you're sort of like recruiting for an open beta of your skill, you can go to the Slack and say, hey, who wants to beta test? Now, obviously, when you're going to do the open beta of your skill, you're probably not going to want to still be in like NDA mode if you're just recruiting people from the Slack. But if you're ready to really sort of start public previewing it and having people give you feedback and help you find, and report bugs, you can recruit beta testers from your fellow developers who are going to give you some different insights than straight up consumer customers will. So I definitely recommend Alexa.design/Slack as a beta recruiting ground as well. So, all right. Yes, trade last, data-driven skills. Let's see, data-driven skills. There we go. Data-driven skills says at Justin Kim, I can send you a spreadsheet if you need it. And here's the thing, Justin, data-driven, both of you, Alexa.design/Slack. One of you's on Twitch, one of you's on YouTube, but if you connect, they're in the Slack. You can PM that spreadsheet. So go to Alexa.design/Slack, make a connection, share information, this is like I say, I love our community. They're so helpful with each other, um, really supportive, and everybody can get good stuff going. So W. Giorgio had asked, um, also on making our skills multi-language with not being able to speak or write said languages. And Milton Huang had a feedback to that. If you want to make a skill that you in a language you aren't fluent in, definitely get testers who are. Um, yeah. That's the thing. Even now with automatic translation and AI translation, there's a lot of context, a lot of idiomatic speech, a lot of things that don't necessarily translate well. Um, I found this to be very interesting when I was trying to conduct some get to know you calls with some of our international champions who didn't speak English, and we were using the live translation feature in Skype, and it was okay, but not great. The funny thing was is that some of them spoke a little bit of English. So if they would slip into English, trying to express something in a way I might better understand, then the translation engine would listen to the English as if it was their native language and try to translate whatever it assumed the English corresponded to in their language. So, it was like, it wasn't that they were, it was like the episode of News Radio where Jimmy James had his book translated into Japanese and then back into English, and it was really sort of this very funny thing about translation. But it's more that it's literally saying in Japanese, what word sounds most like variable, and then it's trying to find a Japanese word that sounds like variable and then translate that into English. So you got to be careful with translation, because you really there are a lot of words that can have very different meanings depending on context. All righty, yes. So there we go. Trade Last has jumped in to recommend my recruiting for beta testers. There is a beta testers wanted channel on our Slack, which is a great place to request for it. So Trade Last asks, are Alexa for Business APIs available to use in public skills or only for private business skills? The Resolve Room Kishidi Ajari was asking about is, I thought you were talking about Smart Home. Is an Alexa for Business API. I'm not sure. Let's see. So the main thing is that Alexa for Business right now is still you're still hitting, it still lives under AWS as opposed to Alexa, and I believe we're building better a better big tent for all of it. But for now, I don't think that you can use. I don't know. Let me find out. Let me add that to my list of questions. Can we use A4B APIs in regular? So yeah, I haven't done much with it because it's been its own thing for quite a while. So Antonio Alexander Medina Marquez, I'm wondering if I can create a passive skill in order to verify if my smartphone is already charged to 100%, then turn off a smart plug. If anybody, so our yeah, our smart home guy was Jeff Nunn. He's moved on to another really interesting position here within Alexa. So I don't believe, we can look at the smart home APIs because the smart home APIs need to be able to receive inputs as well as send outputs. The question is whether or not the smart home API can use your smartphone as a smart home device that it's going to receive inputs from. And that's what I don't know. Um, uh, and I'm going to ask our community, are any of you, um, are any of you into smart home development? And do you know a good page for that? I can, start looking through it, but I'm just going to be skimming and scanning and going silent as I read. Um, yeah. But what I can also do is I am going to, let me see here. I'm going to try to, no, that's not what I want. I'm trying to, yeah. So I'm trying to copy it right now and it's like going, oh, we're highlighting it. We're not highlighting it. Um, there we go. Nope, that's not going to let me copy it. So I think, I think I think what you're looking for is, let me just put this here. So I think what you're looking for is, can you, a passive skill. So how are you planning to have your smartphone signal to the skill that it's charged? And that's something I would want to ask as well. Because otherwise it's an active skill that needs to pull the smartphone for charge status. And Milton Wong has given some information to TradeLast about A for B. So, yes, A for B devices are linked up to a system where Amazon manages the devices directly, and you're paying for each device monthly. Let's see here. And Benjamin Anderson had a question that Stephen Nelson was asking for information on. Let's see if we can find this question from Benjamin Anderson. Does a skill have to be published in order to take advantage of the can fulfill intent requests? And so Steve Nelson is asking, are you asking about published versus in development or published versus private skill? Let's see. That's another thing. All right, so we've got a few questions now that we're going to be addressing later because I don't have all the answers. I wish I did. I wish I had all the answers. I wish I had all the answers to the meaning of everything. Oh, wait, yeah, 42. But when I don't have the answers, we either look it up and, we pull up the docs, or our wonderful community jumps in with some help, or or I put it down in my note list and we take advantage of that. Put it in my notes here. And I make sure that we follow up with these questions because these are good questions. They're valuable, and we appreciate them because they help us help. They help us help you. Oop, hit my mic. They help us help you. All right. So we are at 5 minutes. Do we have any last questions that we can get to in 5 minutes? Let's see here. I'm going to start running up, but if you have a question you want to ask, if not, I can always walk into something. Let's see here. I want to do this again. And I am going to put this up in the chat because it's fun. If you didn't see the tech talk on Thursday, you haven't checked this out. This is a fun little demo on using your voice or touch with Alexa screen devices to provide interactivity. So we show how to handle buttons, both with voice commands or touches on the buttons. And we walk through a small catalog of cheeses with some cheese facts. And my favorite was for cheddar, flocks of feral sheep roam near the Cheddar Gorge Caves, where this cheese gets its name. And honestly, I'll tell you, once, you had me at feral sheep. I mean, feral sheep, right? Had to put that bit of trivia in. Yeah, I've heard of feral cats, feral dogs, but feral sheep, oh my goodness. So I will put this up here. We've also got it in both chats, Twitch and YouTube. So we are good here. Since we don't seem to have any questions coming in, I'm not going to just stretch to make sure we get to 10. We're at 9:57. I am going to remind you one more time. When we shut this down, we're going to head on over to alexa.design/Slack. There are a number of channels you can ask your questions in, depending on what kind of questions you have. Thank you, everyone who came in and asked questions. Thank you, everyone who came in and answered questions. Thank you for proving that our Alexa developer community is a community of just good people. That's why I like being part of this. And we will see you all tomorrow with the APL Power Hour, where I'm going to go into a little more on buttons, and we're going to talk about an APL soundboard, and different ways that you can use buttons to make sounds play, because Alexander Martin gave me a solution that I've been using, and I had my own solution from my old web days. And we're going to look at how you can not only play a sound, but sort of sequence events that are related to playing that sound, and two different options and what the costs and benefits are of each option. So we'll have a lot of fun tomorrow, this hour, on our last APL Power Hour of March. Also, our last weekly APL Power Hour before we go to monthly. So join us then. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I will see you over on the chat in alexa.design/Slack in just a moment. Have a wonderful day. Be excellent to each other.